We're taking your calls, first-time callers in this hour. What's your view on the giant Trump victory, devastating the establishment in Indiana? Also, Bernie Sanders won handily. Democrats are in total disarray. They've been robbing his delegates after he wins state after state to create the perception that Hillary could be the only one to win. But then Sanders started going after his own delegates to get them back. And the mainstream media, the New York Times, had the headline that Bernie Sanders was trying to steal delegates. It's like if somebody runs up and steals your wife's purse and you run and tackle them and the cops arrest you saying you stole the purse from the mugger, even though your wife's billfold's in it. It just doesn't fly. And again, this is a total failure of the fraud system. That's number one. Trying to sell that there was never any voting for primaries. They never counted. Super delegates they invented in the 70s magically could, just end all that if they wanted to. That's like saying that referees can just make up new rules in a football game anytime they want. Or that maybe referees win the trophy. Maybe we pay the players money to the referees. Maybe referees in boxing matches, maybe they start doing the fighting. This is so backwards. This is so over the top, but they sat there with a straight face the last 4 months going, it's completely normal. It's the rules. And I'm like, no, you have public elections. No, you use public money. No, you hold out that it's one person, one vote, one woman, one vote, one man, one vote. And now you see, ladies and gentlemen, that none of it worked. And Ted Cruz has been destroyed. Even mainstream media now says, I've got articles right here. Okay, saying that the popular vote didn't count blew up in the Republicans' faces, and now it's blowing up in Hillary's face. And by the way, Hillary, the FBI is saying at any time, in fact, they're leaning towards leaking the info because the Justice Department won't indict themselves on Hillary-gate or IRS-gate or any of it. But she's known under 3 different criminal investigations. They're finding El Chapo with the weapons from Fast and Furious, 50 cals. Our government gave them. Of course, El Chapo's CIA. That's come out in federal court. That's why it's wrong to put him in jail unless you put his bosses in Langley, Virginia, in prison as well. Even the movie Sicario came out with a lot of good actors in it. Josh Brolin does a good job. It's very accurate. And at the end, they go, look, the CIA is cutting back the other cartels. We run 3 big ones, and that's how we like it. We run the drugs. And the guy's like, and the lady from the FBI is like, you mean the government runs the drugs? He goes, we sure do. And there's a cartel that's not working with us. We're going to kill their family. That is actually how it works, ladies and gentlemen. It's been declassified. It came out in the 80s and the 70s and came out in the 60s before that with Vietnam. But people don't watch congressional hearings on C-SPAN. The big banks launder the money. The low-level guys that Hollywood turns into movie stars have to do all the killing. El Chapo has to battle all the other gangs and be in hundreds of machine gun fights. And if you want to say it, even though he's a brutal murderer, he's the man. He actually does the dirty work, just like Tony Montana says in Scarface, which was written by one of the greatest screenwriters out there. That's really what he is. He's not a director, but a screenwriter. Is Oliver Stone. He wrote that for De Palma. And he says, it's the big banks. They run all the drugs. They've done it for thousands of years. They make it illegal so that we go out and do all the work and so they don't have to follow any of the rules. And then we go to jail so everybody can point their finger at us and say, there's the bad man. And that's exactly how it works. Exactly. It's a joke. So you'll put El Chapo in jail and call him a monster on CNN and Fox News, and I'm just rolling my eyes. Rolling my eyes. It's all complete fairy tale, fantasy land garbage. But then you get the mafia culture that's in all different racial groups, all merging together with Hollywood and MTV selling it, where the young kids get involved in all this, and they're not for decriminalization. They're not for stopping the drug war. No, they like the drug war. They like the illegal money. They like all the glitz and the so-called glamour, and all it does is conduit you straight into a prison. And so there are all these new groups. The stories are up on Infowars.com saying that they're going to riot, they're going to burn stuff down if Trump gets the nomination. What are you going to do, burn down your own neighborhood and then maybe shoot some firefighters and get put in prison and then Wonder why no one puts businesses in your neighborhood? Oh, that'll really show everyone. And then that'll create massive racial and cultural division in America, which the globalists, the same ones that run the media, the same ones that put Beyonce on during the Super Bowl, you know, saying attack the police and saying hate your boyfriend or your husband and beat cars with baseball bats. They're teaching all this fake rebellion. So you'll go out and rebel against the cops or against your husband or against the gringo or against the whatever the case is, thinking you're doing something when all you're doing is dividing and conquering the country, just how the British Empire and the Roman Empire and every other empire always controlled its vassals. You know what a vassal is? It's a slave. Totally ridiculous to see what the public schools and the universities and MTV and the NFL and every other mainstream cultural avenue pushes race-based, hate-filled Black and Hispanic and Asian groups to run around vitriolically saying white people are the progenitors of all forms of evil on the globe, so that classically liberal white people will circle the wagons, self-segregate, and be the management class in the collapsing West over all the other groups. So they're actually bringing back classical racism, but through the left, and the people caught up in it have no idea how sophisticated the operation is. But it's amazing, as the Gateway Pundit reports, anti-Trump groups, big Republican donors like the Koch brothers, spent $75.7 million on 64,000 negative ads, mainly in just the last month. It's got to be 200 million in the last 6 months to bring down Trump, and it wasn't enough. In fact, suddenly, they were starting to drive down his numbers a little bit, but it flipped, and they started going way back up. And why is that? Because the establishment left all over the country came out following the mainstream media directive and beat up the evil crackers, beat up the evil gringos, the trendy white justice warrior, white knights, spit on and attacked the other evil Trump supporters, beat up the Hispanic Trump supporters, beat up the Black Trump supporters, spit on everyone. And the mainstream media didn't really cover it. Starting in Chicago and other areas, they lied and said it was all Trump's fault, and Ted Cruz said it was all Trump's fault. But the internet and Infowars.com, more than anybody, our reporters, Rob Dew, Josh Owens, and others on the ground, showing everybody how it's done, went to town after town after town. Joe Biggs and the rest of the crew just always going out to town after town after town and city and showing the vile anti-free speech, foaming at the mouth, frothing hordes. And it educated everyone very, very quickly. I mean, conservatively, just our videos every week showing people knocking out windows, attacking cars, beating people up, screaming Viva La Raza, for those inside the race, everything, for those outside the race, nothing. I mean, that is a literal Nazi slogan if whites were using it. That is literal Adolf Hitler talk, but being spewed by university brainwashed Hispanics. And it blew up in their face. 10 million views every week, separate from all our other views and listeners. 10 million. And by the way, that's just on our channels on Facebook and our YouTube channels, not even counting what we show to millions on radio and TV, and not count everybody else's sites. I don't have time to go look. I went and looked at one video Rob Dew shot in California that had 3.4 million views on one of our channels, 500,000 on the other channel, and then I found another channel with 2 million views, another channel with 4 million views. I mean, that's like 10 million views, one video. So when I say 10 million, that is a giant understatement because I don't have time to go track it all because I'm too busy moving on to the next globalist target. That is devastation. And of course, Trump is a dinosaur, but at least he is a patriot and a nationalist. It appears. He still goes on the little Fox and Friends. And he still goes on the O'Reilly with his 3 million viewers. And he still does all that judiciously. We're not here clamoring like baby birds. Please come on, Trump. Please come on, Trump. We just want the insides of the campaign. We don't care if a, senator or somebody comes on. People tune out for that. Folks like Trump coming on, but not as much as just having some listener call in with a great point. Because it's about the people. But see, InfoWars and you, the listeners, are leading the charge every day, every week, every month. You see us punching through the Berlin Wall of disinformation, changing the narrative, our terms being used all over the world. You know who listens more than anybody? The militaries. Not just ours, the militaries. And you know who else listens number two? The police. You know who's responded all over the country? The police. You know who got it? The police. Are there some bad cops? Globalist control, absolutely. But why would we be idiots and make them our enemies? Why would we make Hispanics our enemies just because the Ford Foundation spent $20-something billion itself on this project in the last 50 years? It's over $20 billion just on this. Just on this. Just on Metzl Raza. Henry Ford, of course, a Hitler lover. But actually, he did some good things, too, when it, for business and things, but I don't support his political views. What I'm getting at here is that this is out-of-control, sophisticated New World Order garbage, but once you see it and once you know what it's doing, it's game over. So our big danger is them assassinating Trump, trying to steal it again at the convention. We've got this intimidation going by a bunch of gang members and brainwashed university students and people saying we're going to burn stuff down if you nominate Trump. The American people, the sleeping giant of every race, color, and creed, doesn't wake up and take action until they get threatened like that. You have just guaranteed that if Trump focuses on these thugs and focuses on the intimidation and focuses on the social justice warriors and talks about their intimidation of free speech, it is game over. I've told the Trump campaign, you need to put your own people in disguise inside these leftist operations to show what they're really saying, and you will bring them down. But I'm not going to wait for Trump to do it. We're going to go undercover now. That's what it takes, ladies and gentlemen. See, we're not going to sit around and wait for somebody else to do it. We're going to lead, and we are leading. And that's what you get with InfoWars, is absolute 21st century warfare against the New World Order with truth. That sword cuts through their lies like nothing. They've got these big water hoses that spray stinking horse manure at the public. Well, that's not our weapon, to just splatter everything with stench so everybody just gets confused in the smoke. We just cut right through it with a flaming hot sword that just goes right through the hardest lies, slicing right through them. We are devastating the enemy because we have the spirit of liberty, the spirit of the will to take action. And when you get that will, folks, and you get that focus, it's game over. When you get the confidence and the historical understanding and know how the enemy operates, nothing on earth can stop you, folks, unless they start a giant depression or start World War III. And even if they pull that, folks are aware of what's going on and understand the establishment is behind it all, pulling the tricks, the false flags, you name it. I want to go to Alex, Robert, Mike, Phoenix, Robert, and others. But it is just such an exciting time to be alive right now. And it is such a badge of courage, such a certification when they have Fox News, CNN, MSNBC almost every day lying about my broadcast and demonizing yours truly. These are people with shrinking ratings, shrinking audiences, sitting around their fancy studios, literally believing they've arrived because they're part of the establishment. I would never want to be part of the establishment. Do you know how I would destroy myself? If I took the Fox TV shows. You've heard Mancow on the show, let the cat out of the bag. Yeah, you know, that Fox show you were going to do with me, but I didn't show up. I didn't sign the contract. Nothing against Mancow. Ask him. And other contracts they offered me. He goes, I met with the head people. You've been offered 4 TV shows and contracts and money and didn't take them? And I said, yeah. And then Fox News had the nerve to go to the New York Daily News a few years ago and go, Alex Jones wanted a job with us, but we refused him. He wants showbiz, but showbiz doesn't want him. I was told that before when I was like 20 years old. No. I don't want showbiz, jackass. I want freedom and space exploration and the next renaissance. And I don't care if nobody even knows my name in the future because my genetics are going to be carried on forever. That's living forever. That's victory. And I want your genetics to go on forever. All of us together, of every race, color, and creed, as one humanity. I believe in humanity. I'm a fan of humanity. I want to win. I want prosperity. And I want to smash the skulls of bullies and murderers and child molesters wide open. I want to see their teeth all over the ground. I got an instinct to win, an instinct to thrive, an instinct to understand things. I'm a pioneer. I'm an explorer. I'm a human, and I'm coming. I'm animated. I'm alive. My heart's big. It's got hot blood going through it fast. I like to fight, too. I like to eat. I like to have children. I'm here. I got a life force. This is a human. This is what we look like. This is what we act like. This is what everybody was like before us. This is what I am. I'm a throwback. I'm here. I've got the fire of human liberty. I'm setting fires everywhere, and humans are turning on everywhere. And we're going to get our metaphysical hands around your stinking necks. Make no mistake, parasites. There's an attack on the species by a guild of psychopaths, and they must be defeated. I'm going to settle down, excuse me. I'm going to come back for the next 2 segments, take your calls, excuse me. The epicness of the energy in the world right now, humanity struggling to go into the future. The fact that they're putting consciousness-suppressing chemicals in the food and water. The fact that they're coming out with vaccines that have viruses that eat part of your brain to make you more docile. That was in the news 15 years ago. Look it up. Brain-eating vaccines is what I called them as a pop term to get folks to go look at these behavior vaccines or calming vaccines or anti-drug vaccines. They're coming after our will. It's the only card they've got left. And they're going to be caught doing this outside of their authorized trials with people. And the folks that, I'm the one, I'm not even bragging, this is what you can do. I was told in 1996 by a head nurse in San Antonio there was a secret Army and UN database of everybody's blood at birth being put in, and they were claiming they owned everyone's blood and DNA type preparing it to claim they own your DNA in the future. Years later, it started coming out in the news. After I talked about it, families started asking. Families sued in Austin and in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and found out it was all true, and the whole program came out. Just like that. A nurse tells me, shows me the documents. I talk about it. It takes 5 years for it to finally crest and break, and now that whole program has been exposed worldwide. I'm going to skip this break. It's too important. That is how epic all of this is. You can do that on any subject you want. I've been trying to push the chimeras out and make sure that breaks. Wait till there's a national discussion and all the folks that are obsessed on animal testing, you won't hear a word from PETA because they're anti-human and controlled by the globalists. Oh, boy, I know the inside on that. Anyways, the point is that imagine if people are mad that they test shampoo on bunnies. Where's the concern about human testing? That's going on. Or the chimera testing. Yes, they're growing humanoids inside pigs, sheep, and cows that are part human. So are the pigs and cows, so they don't reject them. I'm showing MIT on screen human-animal chimeras gestating on research farms across the U.S. And it's not a radical new approach. It's been going on for 50 stinking years. They're just getting ready to roll it out, but they're rolling it out their way, how cute and fun it is. See? And they can have folks at Fox News make fun of me and sit back in a confidence game like they're at the frat back in college when the new guy walks in and they all act confident and go, Alex Jones claims there's chimeras. They've done You're sitting there with almost no audience. And those that do watch you don't trust you. You're a joke. What, you got a bunch of, I love old people, but you got a bunch of, I mean, look at the ads, catheter ads and all the rest of it. You got a bunch of 85 people, 85-year-olds on average who aren't even there because they think the girls are pretty. You're all typecast to make 85-year-olds think you're cool. I mean, you're really cool. You're really trailblazing the future. You know, InfoWars just in one area every week for the last year dominates global memes that hundreds of millions of people look at. We're the meme factory, not even trying. The people that create all the memes decide to come to InfoWars to choose them and to launch them as a form of hat tipping. See, we are the future. See, the X-Files is based on us now, and the movies and the culture. You are with the people who are preparing to be put in coffins. You're dead, Fox News. You're dead, Glenn Beck. You chose the Lord of this world, he who loves death. That's what you do. And I'm not, again, I love old people. They're wonderful people. I say take care of them, don't kill them. You know, a lot of them are great patriots. They have great knowledge of their awake. But the ones watching CNN and Fox News and MSNBC literally don't know, in some cases, what planet they're on. A lot of them are really informed people. I watch Fox News. My son watches it. There's some good stuff on there. But the establishment people they've got on there making fun of us about the 28 pages and making fun of us about other issues, they're a joke. And they don't control the narrative anymore. Thousands of years ago, there was a basic form of chivalry. Our ancestors would hear the drums of war, giving the warriors of the tribe a chance to organize and prepare a defense. 60 years ago, when foreign air forces were approaching filled with bombs, they had drums of their own, air raid sirens. But in the 21st century, there are silent weapons for quiet war, pathogens added to the food and water, and to the lining of plastics that destroy our vitality, turn off our hormones, and accelerate our journey towards death. I personally counter this onslaught with Anthroplex. Anthroplex is designed with known organic concentrated herbs to create the basic foundation to normal metabolic activity inside the human body. Discover why Anthroplex is turning so many heads today. It's time for us to take our bodies back into our own hands, and it starts at InfoWarsLife.com with Anthroplex.